Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. My name is Sensei Bronson Long. This is my martial arts instructor, Master Autry. And this is a podcast where two martial artists get together, but it's not just about our walk in martial arts, but more importantly, our walk in life. Master Autry, I've known you for basically my whole life.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
It's been a long time. But I started training under you when I turned about 15. It was about maybe 2 months before I turned 16. I just turned 28 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So I've been training with you for a long time, and you've been teaching for 50 years?
Yeah, about 51 years.
Yes,
It's
sir.
been a long time, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Taught a lot of students. You've changed a lot of lives and done a lot of good things. And we've built our relationship over the years through martial arts and, before classes, after classes, we've got to a place where we do a lot of talking.
Actually, we do more talking than we do working out. We spend a lot of time talking.
And it didn't take long for me to realize that those things happen quickly. It doesn't take long before you realize that you are out of touch with the youth. Things change so quickly, especially in today's age with technology, and things are so fast. We're in like a microwave culture.
It is. And the thing is, it don't have to be 70 or 25.
Sure.
It could be 18 and 22.
Absolutely.
Generation gap probably is just as big with them that it is us.
It sure is.
But that's why we entitled this. We got a couple stories we're going to share with everybody. Hope they enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. All right. You want me to go first?
You can, absolutely.
Okay. All right. The very first time in my life I ever experienced a generational gap, I was teaching martial arts, believe it or not. Yes. And there was a song playing. We play a lot of the old school music,
Right.
60s, 70s, 80s music. And the song Jukebox Hero came on. And one of my kids was in the class, and she said, Sensei Long, what's a jukebox? And I said, okay. I said, well, it's before my time. I said, well, it's kind of like if you take an iPod and you stick it in the ground. It doesn't go nowhere. It's there, and you put money in it, and it plays songs for you. And I thought that was just a perfect analogy. And the little girl looked at me. She said, Sensei Long, what's an iPod? And I said, oh, no.
Start from scratch.
It's happened, I know things that they don't know now. And so that was the first time in my life I really experienced. I think I was maybe, 20 years old or so at the time. But it's so funny how things that are so common to me or to my generation, when the iPod came out, or even the iPod Touch, that was the first mainstream mass manufactured touchscreen anything. And to me that's such a legendary thing because it was the first of its kind. It was the first thing. I figured everybody would know it, but at the same time, I wasn't. I've always heard people talk. My mom was born in the 60s and my dad in the 50s. So I'd hear little things that I don't understand. Like I don't know what it means to pop a clutch on a truck. I don't know. I've never owned a Walkman,
Right.
But they would talk about these things like, how do you not know? It's so big for our generation. And it's just so funny how time does that to people.
I was 16 years old. My first job was a grocery store,
Right.
bagging groceries. Excuse me. You bag the groceries back then. They had like a nice kiosk. So you roll the groceries out and you wait for people to come around and you load the groceries. So back then, a nickel was a big tip. I'm
Right.
telling my age, I guess, but a nickel was a big tip. So I'm sitting there one day and I bagged the groceries and this lady comes down, big old Cadillac. Big old Cadillac. The lady was driving. She was probably 35, 40, and she had her mother in the front seat. Her mother was probably 70 years old. And back then, like I said, a nickel, sometimes you get a dime, most times it's a nickel. The lady reached in her change purse and she'd give it to her mother. She said, give the boy, which was me, 15 cents. I'm like, 15 cents, man, this is good, I couldn't believe it. I'm going to get 15 cents. And the old lady said, I'm not giving him 15. She said, Mother, give the guy 15 cents. She said, I'm not doing it. She says, give it to him. She's like, okay. So the lady gets back to the driver's seat. The old lady comes back. I loaded the last groceries. She took that nickel and gave it to me and kept the dime and put it in her pocket. True story. And I'm like, man, she snookered me. She snookered me out of a dime. So it kind of aggravated me. I was like, So I went home. Of course I was nice to her. But I went home. My dad said, how was your day? How was your night working? I said, it was good. And I told him what happened. I said, I can't believe she did that. He said, so now let me explain something to you. My dad was the coolest guy in the world. He said, you look at it as a dime. She probably lived in the Depression. If you got what it is, you have to look that up. Back in the Depression, where that dime, she could get a loaf of bread, probably get a can of beans and a bag of rice, and would feed them for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
She looks at it as that.
Wow.
You know, and when I got home, I was like, well, I still lost a dime.
Right.
Yeah, I'm 16. But he's right. You know,
Right.
she looks at it this way.
Right.
Ms. Autry and I were at the Dunkin' Donuts about, I don't know, a year ago. We're sitting there having a donut, a cup of coffee, and this Uber Eats guy comes up.
Mm.
He comes in with a smoothie from Smoothie King down the street. He gives it to the guy that works there.
Oh,
He says,
Jesus.
thank you. And I was thinking, big old smoothie. I'm thinking, you work at Dunkin', you ordered a smoothie. So I asked the young man, I said, if you don't mind me asking, how much was that? He said, $17.
Ooh, wee.
And I'm thinking, $17? I would never pay $17 for a smoothie. And then I thought, she didn't want to give me that dime either.
Right.
So it's the same thing.
I
right?
guess you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of similar. You're right, because in today, $17 ain't going to get you a quarter tank of gas,
Right.
you know, or half a tank, whatever size your engine is or whatever.
But would you pay $17 for a smoothie?
No way. No way. No.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely not. And I'm a fan of smoothies. I think they're delicious.
Yeah.
But I go on Fridays. Smoothie King's got the get the 32 ounce for like
Yeah.
$5 or
Yeah.
something. I'll get a deal out of it. But no way.
So she actually paid, he actually paid $17 to get that smoothie there.
It's insane. You know, that stuff, I understand the convenience of it all, but that is a major generational gap there.
Yeah.
Is that, again, you know, I even though I am 28, I was still raised by someone who was born in the 60s, and my dad was born in 53.
Right.
And so there are certain values that were instilled into me that may not be super common for people my age. You know, I'm sure it happens all over the place, but it might not be the social norm. But you know, we make it at home or cook it at home, or you know, and I know a lot of people that I work with and just day-to-day life, and not saying it's good or bad, but they would much rather do it that way. You know, they'd like to have their groceries delivered to their house or the Uber Eats, and it's just a different way of doing things.
It is. Things change in the computers. Here we're actually talking about computers now. We're
Right.
on one. But computers have made things better for the most part. There's some things that maybe it's not
Sure.
so great about
Right.
it, you know, for young kids and stuff to look at. But the computers really, for the most part, is done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that for me is, you know, I still don't know how to use them. And if it weren't for you, I would be doing this.
Yes, sir.
You've been asking me to do this for a while. But and I don't know how to set all this stuff up.
Yes, sir.
But it's there again, it's the generation gap. And
Right.
you do know how to do it. you
Yes,
know?
sir.
So it's a plus.
Right.
It is.
Absolutely. And it's just change. You know, things just change. Like you said, there are some good things that the technology brings. Like, it's really nice to be able to open up my phone and move money instantly from a savings account to a checking account or vice versa. That stuff's really, really nice. But there are certain, I don't know, it's funny how the little things build up a person, and those little things make a whole generation. You know,
Exactly.
and so there's so much difference there. They're just nuanced differences that make these macro changes across a widespread group of people. Like in my lifetime, I think I can count on one hand how many times I've actually had to write a check for somebody, and you know, it may be less than 5 times that I've ever had to write out a check before.
It used to be years ago, and again, older people understand this. You got paid on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You got a check. You know, you didn't do no direct deposit. You got a check. You had to hurry and get to the bank before they closed to cash that check to have weekend money.
Right.
If you didn't, you wouldn't have any money in the weekend.
Right.
That was it. You had the check. You go to the bank. You cash it. If you get caught in traffic or too late, then you don't get paid. You know.
Right.
But everybody wrote checks.
Right.
Very few people paid cash, but most people wrote checks.
Mm-hmm.
But you carry a checkbook with you, and you write out a check and give it to somebody. It didn't say checks accepted because everybody took them.
Right.
You know, it was just.
Oh,
it,
yeah,
it was
that's
the norm.
true.
It
Wow.
was the norm. You know.
That's interesting.
Now some places don't take a check.
That's a good point. Yes, I guess that's probably something that's also a generational gap as well. Is my whole life, those signs have been on the windows at a grocery store. They've been on the windows at McDonald's where it'll say checks accepted or not accepted,
Right.
or American Express accepted, or things of that nature. And when those things are a part of your daily life, every store you go to, you see them, whether it's a gas station, a grocery store, whatever. And you don't think that there was a time when you'd walk up to a grocery store and those stickers weren't there.
Right.
You know, it's just,
You know, me and Ms. Autry, when we first started martial arts school years and years ago, we just took cash or checks.
mm-hmm.
And then after about, 15, 20 years after we had the school, we noticed that everybody started taking credit cards. So we took a credit card machine, to make it easier. And we still, I guess we did about maybe half and half people. Half
Mhm.
people pay cash and half
Mhm.
people use credit card. But till then, I didn't even use credit card at the school for the last 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
mostly cash or check.
Wow, that's interesting. A lot of my students pay me today using Cash App, Google Pay, Zelle. A lot of it's just done over the phone, and that's not the majority of my students, but I would say at least 25% of them pay that way and have the entire time. But right now we're sitting at 6 live viewers, so if you guys have any type of generational gap stories, I'd love to hear them.
Exactly.
There is a live chat under the video, and if you'd like to put in something, you are more than welcome to. We would love to hear you guys. Mr. Michael says my grandkids can't write cursive. I did get cursive. That did happen to me. I did get cursive. Matter of fact, my handwriting in cursive, that was always more fluent to me. I always had a rushed handwriting anyway, so it was just easier for me to do. But
my thing is, why don't they teach it? I guess there again, that's a generation gap.
I guess so.
Why don't they teach cursive? I mean, you can't print forever. I guess everything's typed.
That's what it is. Yeah. Things just change. I didn't have a typing class until late into middle school, 7th, 8th grade or so. But I imagine it's such a necessity for people. And maybe it's not even a class anymore because computers aren't so rare. They're everywhere you turn. You got one in your pocket all the time. But, I did see it. This was a really funny video. This was a couple years ago. Somebody online had said something about, this younger generation, they think they're so cool. They're so smart with their technology and stuff. We'd beat you guys in a war any day. The older guy talking. He's like, all we'd have to do, we could just write letters to each other in cursive. You'd never understand any of our battle plans.
Yeah, but the other guys had the AI.
Yeah, that's true.
They would never say that. Yeah, I trump your little cursive with my AI.
That's hilarious. And it's funny how that stuff works. But it is really cool. I think, me personally though, I have a lot of respect to hear that stuff because it is little nuanced things like that make such a big difference in your life.
But like I said, I'm an old guy and stuff. But you do learn from the young people. Mm-hmm. I used to think, well, a lot of older people as well. They don't know what they're doing. Maybe they don't in some things, but in some things they know 10 times more than we do.
Yes.
I mean, talking about the AI or the computers and stuff. Most of us guys, we don't know how to do that kind of computer stuff. I definitely don't. So.
But there's certain wisdom that, and I heard somebody say something the other day. They were 26 years old and they were talking about something. And I was like, yeah, but what do you know about it? I'm 28, you're 26. What do we really know about some of these things? I feel like it takes a long time to really get a grand perspective. Mm-hmm. You have to experience things. And in somebody's lifetime, my grandmother just passed away, maybe three weeks ago, something like that. It wasn't too long ago. But in her lifetime, she had seen so many wars. She'd seen recessions. She's seen, inflation. She's seen house market problems. Sure. And of course, with all that other comes just life experiences where you see people grow, you see people move on and pass away, and kids and grandkids. And I feel like with all those time that you spend on earth and all those experiences, you're bound to build up some type of wisdom, some type of knowledge there that regardless of how much AI you got or how good you are on the keyboard, you can't accumulate that without time. No. And even in the martial arts, you always taught me, you're not getting a certain degree, a certain belt until you reach a certain age because it's no longer about these. It's more about what's going on up here. Exactly. And I think that there is a respect for that,
it's just like, I don't know, it is a fast-paced world we're talking about. Generation gap, it's a fast-paced world. I've got a neighbor right down the street here, a great couple. They've got a little 2-year-old. He's riding a bicycle.
At 2?
At 2 years old.
Oh, geez Louise.
He's riding a bicycle down the sidewalk. He's 2.
Wow.
And I'm like, people just learning faster now.
Wow, jeez.
I don't know what it is. And there's the ones right down the street the same way. Mm. They're teaching kids more and more and more.
Right.
It used to be, we taught them when they were young, but we let them kind of go. But these kids are now, they're just being fed a lot.
Wow.
And I think it's good and maybe not bad, but I think it's good and not so good, but I think mostly it's good. Mm-hmm. I do. As you get older, you think about that. Right. Because there's a balance. Everything's about balance. Everything's balanced. Life, martial arts, your family, your life, your friendship, or whatever it is. You have to have that balance.
Right.
So, have those kids are doing that on the bicycle. To me, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, that's incredible. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
2 years old.
Actually,
that is just crazy.
No training wheels.
No
training wheels.
And what are
Riding
they feeding
bicycle.
these kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
That is crazy.
I don't know. Take some. I'll let one of you have
That's so
it.
funny. Mr. Bill says, love the topic. Great video. Thank you so much, Mr. Bill. We appreciate you hanging out
Thank you,
with us
Bill.
tonight.
Appreciate
for
it, man.
Viewership. That's very kind of you. Mr. Tab Hunter, I know that name. How you doing, sir? Very good to hear from you. He says, kids nowadays don't take pride in things we did back in the day. I told my son that the way things are going with communication skills diminishing, his generation text across the table with the potential employer for a job. You know, he's not wrong.
No.
You're not wrong, and that is something I've seen firsthand in my own life.
Tell Ben we said hello.
Oh yes, and congratulations!
Yeah.
I heard he's doing some flying. I'm
Yeah,
very
tell him
proud
we
of him.
said we're proud of
That's
him.
wonderful news. You're very right on that too. But if 2020 taught me anything, it's that it is not good for people to be alone.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand you got to have your alone time and privacy. I would never say you don't need that. But communication, eye-to-eye contact, being around people, that stuff is really good. It's healthy for you. It builds perspective, and that is something that is a generational thing. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know if there's ever been a time in human existence where we ever thought face-to-face communication would end up being a generation gap. So that's actually a really neat point you put out there, Mr. Hunter. That's a really neat point.
You know, down there's a bus stop. I see them all over, not just neighborhood, but all over. I passed a bus stop about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. 9 kids, all sitting there.
Oh,
Not
wow.
said one word.
That's crazy.
We couldn't wait to get to the bus stop to talk
Right.
to everybody.
Hang out and play and talk, and
man,
talk
what's
about
going
Super
on?
Bowl.
Whatever. Exactly. Whatever.
Right.
We want to hang out and play and have fun.
Right.
Those kids, there were 9 of them. Excuse me. There were 9 of them. Didn't say a word to anybody.
That's
Just sat
insane.
there. They were all on the phone. Bus came. They said, "Send."
Wow.
They loaded in the bus.
Wow. And I don't know. I mean, it's if they're happy, that's great and all, but it's just odd to see change, you know? And maybe it's the younger side in me that looks at change and just thinks that that's a strange thing. Because you hate to see what you had gone, you know? Like, there's certain things that, you know, I just had my first child. You know, she's 11 weeks old. And my child will probably never have the experience of packing up in the car and going to Blockbuster, getting a candy bar and getting a movie. And I don't know if she's really missing out on something or if she's just missing out on something I think she needs to experience.
But you don't miss out if you never had it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Right.
You know, and you wish you had it. I wish you had back in the 70s, put the 8-track
Oh.
in, put the windows down, drive through Shoney's
Man.
restaurant, get you a cherry lemon 7-Up and just ride down the road
Yes,
up and
sir,
down.
right.
You know, that was back in the 70s for you guys to know that. That was fun.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that was just, it was a good time. You know, me and my wife talked about it, you know, back in the 70s. That was fun.
Right.
Us growing up.
Right.
But nowadays, kids don't get to do that. You know, they're on their computers. They're doing everything.
Right.
Are they smart? Yeah, they're doing AI.
Sure.
Yes, but are they missing out? They are. Did we miss out on some computer stuff? We probably did.
Right.
But all in all, I feel like the 70s and 80s were kind of the best for me anyway.
I told somebody the other day, he told me he was going to a concert. He's going to a big metal show, you know, big heavy rock music. And he said, "Have you ever been?" I said, "No." I said, "I got to be honest with you. It's not something that I think I would enjoy." I said, "Not knocking it. You know,
Right.
if that's your type of thing, go for it." He said, "Have you ever been to a concert?" I said, "I've been to a couple." I said, "But honestly, man, I would much rather go see Marvin Gaye or Smokey Robinson." And he was like, "Well, you can't do that." And I said, "Well, I know, but if I could, I would get in a time machine and I would go experience that." And that is something that, you know, a lot of people do respect. You know, no matter who you are, you have a favorite artist or a movie that happened, some type of TV series,
But
something
you can
that
relate
happened.
to in your life. That's what
Yes,
it
and
is.
it happened before you were around,
Right.
and you have this special feeling towards it because you like it, and you're like, man, I would have loved to see what it would have been like when this happened.
Right.
You know, I don't know, somebody like Leonard Skinner. You know what I mean? All the original band members are dead now.
Exactly.
And I never got to experience that, and I think it'd be really cool to see what that feeling was like amongst people. But, you know, change is just inevitable, and it's just something I guess we just have to accept. Michael says that there is street smart and there is book smart. Yeah, you're right. There is definitely a difference between the two. It says Smokey plays in Vegas and he is great. Oh, Okay. Well, I'm envious of you. You got to see Smokey live. That's my favorite singer of all time.
Mine's Marvin Gaye.
It's close.
Yeah,
It's
Marvin
close.
Gaye and Smokey's my second one,
Yes, sir.
probably.
They're close between the two. I've really, really enjoyed their music a whole lot.
Let me ask you something, maybe changing up just a little bit.
Sure.
We were talking about doing this podcast. What are you looking to do mostly with this podcast?
You know,
Because I know what I feel about it. Now I'm gonna get your feelings about it. I don't change the wheels. On you a
sure,
little bit.
yeah, no, and this may be a different answer than what people might expect me to say because I imagine most of our viewers probably know you better than they do me, though I do recognize a name or two in there. For me, what I would look forward to the most, because I never know what the future holds, but I do know one thing's for certain is I get to hang out with you and spend time with you, you know.
Yeah.
And you've really been someone in my life who has really been elevated to a position to someone I admire and respect highly, and of course your wife as well and your whole family. And so to me, it's just exciting that, you know, we get to do this thing together. We get to have awesome conversation, and I think the second thing is we get to share it with other people.
Yeah.
We get to hear their take and their thoughts on it. What is yours?
You know, actually, it's almost the same thing. We used to sit there when we leave the dojo in the night, and when I was young, even before I started teaching with you, me and a couple of the guys, we'd stay out there 2, 3, 4 hours at the park lot, working on techniques and stuff, and just talking, just hanging out. And then, you know, as you come into school, we started doing the same thing, especially the private lessons and all. And this is just a way that we can hang out together and have a bit of fun and do something like that.
Absolutely.
You know, this is new to me, and this is live. This
Yes,
is not
sir.
like we get to edit this.
Right.
What they see is
It's what you get.
it's what you get, good, bad, or whatever it is. This is
Right.
what you get. But it's just fun. You know, you've been asking me to do this for a while, and I'm going to enjoy this.
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying it already.
Yes,
it's just
sir.
fun.
It's
It's,
been
just
fun.
us being real.
Right.
You know, just
We're
tell
going
the
to do
truth.
it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's just now there's a camera in front of us, and
That's all.
at least there's other people who get to chime in and give
Yeah.
their take on things. And it's always good to have other perspective and people
is.
come in and hang out and talk with you and stuff. But no, and actually, I'm really looking forward to it because there's so much to talk about.
And each week, I guess we'll just do a different topic, and
Sure,
we'll go
yeah.
on it, and then we'll just swing off of it. Whatever
Absolutely,
happens.
yes.
You know?
And we have a tendency, as many do, to you start on one thing and you just kind of trail on. So you just never know what exactly we'll be doing. But like you said, in today's world, things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
You can never run out of things to talk about. There's
no.
always something to
And,
do.
and you know, like you and I, we go out and do seminars. We do a lot of seminars and private lessons and stuff. We do seminars, whether it's colleges or speaking engagements, whatever, or even demonstrations. But for me, the best part of that we're talking about is talking to the people afterwards.
Oh, it's the best.
We went to the college last year or something. There was like 200 students there. I call them kids, but they're students. And no matter what we did, demonstrations, whatever we did, the stick, disarms, whatever. But the most important thing was after it was over with, they came and talked to us.
Right.
They were asking us questions, telling us about their stories, telling about their mom and dad, about their schooling. That's what I enjoyed.
Oh, me too.
We enjoyed that as much as doing the martial arts.
Absolutely.
And it's not about the martial arts, it's about the different walk in the life that
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about. And that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, me
You know,
too.
I love hearing those young kids telling me stories because we wasn't sure how they were going to take us.
Nope.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, you know, because I'd never been to that college before. I've been
Right.
to other colleges. But you just didn't know. The
Right.
young generation see somebody older, they're like, you know, they were just accepted. They
Yes,
came
sir.
and taught, and there must have been 20 of them come to the stage and talk to us. I wouldn't think
Absolutely.
about
Yeah,
20.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, that's something I didn't expect would happen to me. You know, when it comes into the martial arts, I never thought I would enjoy that part or even honestly experience that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we did a lot of stuff on the stage that day. Like you said, we performed and did a couple of demonstrations for everybody. And as much fun as that is, you're not wrong. When you get done and people come and they talk to you, and it obviously had some type of impact on them, what they saw, they feel compelled to tell you stories.
It was nothing
their
about
life.
martial arts either. It was our personal stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
It's about life.
Where you're from, how long you've been doing this, or where were you raised at, what's your favorite food. Let me
Right.
tell you about my mom and dad. Let me tell
Right.
you about my school. Let me tell you about my homework. I got a boyfriend, I got a girlfriend, whatever
Right.
it was. And I was just like, wow, we were just taking
It's
back.
amazing. It's amazing.
But you know, that said, and if you, I've always said this, and I love this neighborhood I live in, but you know, try to be that good person. And I've said that from day one. You know, the most important thing in life is being a good person.
Yes.
And truly being a good person. And doing it because you want to. It's not because you want to get something out of it.
Right.
You know.
It goes a long way, and it feels good over time.
It
you
does.
know, it really does. Especially, I harp on it all the time because it's brand new for me. But I just now became a dad,
I know.
and it is nice to know that you did the right thing. You did it safely. You did it smoothly and everything.
Right.
You know, you can be proud of what you did, and you know that when your daughter grows up, she can. Yeah. She's 11 weeks. 11 weeks. So she's smiling now, and she's doing. Yeah, she's really starting to get a bit of personality. So it's just incredible. It's so cool, and people always tell you. What's funny is you have so much love for students. You know, and you've taught so many as well. But when they're little, they're so cute and they're so sweet. And as they grow up, you know, you get to see all the different changes and things that they do. As much as I enjoy seeing her as a little baby, and everyone who's got more years and experience than me always tells me, I've heard it so many times, it goes by so quickly. Cherish it while you can. Cherish it while you can. And, you know, I don't know if I'll ever really understand what they mean until it happens. Yeah. Because right now, even though I enjoy where she's at and she's adorable, I just love hugging on her, but I really do look forward to seeing, what are you going to do? You know, what is your goal in life? You know, what are you going to become? What are you going to do for a living? And it's funny, and generational gaps. I wonder what we're going to do different, or what we won't see eye to eye on. You know, I look forward to those things.
And the thing is, you know, they go through stages like anybody else. Just like your students, my students, they go through stages of the martial arts, or you go through stages at school or college or even at work. Children just go through little stages.
Right.
You know, you'll come in one time and she'll have a silly, goofy stage when she's 6 or 7 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then she'll have a serious stage. They just go through stages, just like your students. It's just fun to watch.
Right.
It's so cool. It really is.
That is so much fun. Wow. Let's see if anybody else is in the chat. Not right now, but I'll tell you what, sir. That is so much fun. I had a really good time doing this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so glad everybody else is able to hang out
and
with
we're
us.
going to try to do it every Tuesday at 7:30. Okay.
Yes, yeah, we should be.
7:30 live every Tuesday.
Right.
We're going to have a different topic, talk to you, and ask you guys to give us some input, and we'll have a good time.
Yes, yeah, we sure will. Well, guys, we'll be back on here at 7:30 on Tuesday, like Master Autry said. Thank you so much again for hanging out with us. We do appreciate it. What a great first episode.
Guys, thank you so much. And like I say, you know, to me, the most important thing is being a good person and just helping out anybody you can. And we just enjoyed doing this. We truly did.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you back here next week.
Thank you, guys.